Thank you and good afternoon. Thank you. Thank you all. So it's my honor to stand before you here today on behalf of Enough is Enough, or EIE, a national nonprofit organization which has been fighting to make the internet safer for children and families since 1994. The Alliance to End Human Trafficking offers an incredible opportunity to educate the public on this fastest growing industry in the world, and helps to fill the gaps and the disconnect that exists between trafficking, survivors, victims, law enforcement, service providers, and NGOs. We're grateful to be a founding member of this movement. And thank you, Lynn and Blanquita, for setting this up. The internet is the dominant business model used by sex traffickers and was used in 88% of the active sex trafficking cases last year, according to a federal report. As such, it's important to understand how traffickers and sexual predators use the internet to operate in the digital world, where children and teens spend vast amounts of time. Pimps and traffickers scour social media feeds, chat rooms, messaging rooms, and forums, and even online gaming forums to look for their prey. The predators look for comments such as, feeling depressed, boyfriend broke up with me today, fought with my parents, want to run away, I hate school, nobody likes me. Predators search for youth who appear vulnerable, isolated, or depressed, and begin the grooming process, often offering attention, love, expensive gifts, promising jobs, and a better life. Predators sexualize children by exposing them to pornography, convincing them to send nude images, and then threaten public exposure of these images to shame them into silence. Once shared online, these images become digital currency for other predators to consume and trade, contributing to that multi-billion-dollar porn industry. Before they know it, that child or young adult has fallen into the predator's trap that will forever change their lives. Enough is Enough President Donna Rice Hughes always says that an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. For that reason, we work tirelessly to educate and equip parents and communities to help their children stay safe in the ever-evolving digital world. EIE's bipartisan Children's Internet Safety Presidential Pledge, supported by candidates Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton during the last presidential campaign, calls for the aggressive enforcement of existing laws as well as the advancement of public policies to prevent the sexual exploitation of children online, including those pertaining to sex trafficking. The presidential pledge was a catalyst for the Children's Internet Safety Governor's Pledge, signed by South Carolina Governor Henry McMaster, which will be circulated in all 50 states and U.S. territories. EIE's State Attorneys General Pledge is being spearheaded by Attorney General Alan Wilson of South Carolina and Carl Racine of Washington, D.C., both Attorney Generals who are among the 6 signers to date. These pledges call on federal and state government to examine the very real connection between sex trafficking, pornography, and child sex abuse images. Each fuels the other. If we are going to combat sex crimes and put an end to sex trafficking, we must tackle the demand side of the multi-billion-dollar sex trafficking industry. Extreme and violent pornography, which, by the way, is not protected by the First Amendment, fuels the demand for sex slaves. Porn users demand more and new, violent, fetishized content. The result, more women and children become prostituted and trafficked. A majority of sex trafficking survivors report that their pimps and abusers showed them extreme pornography to display the kind of sexual acts they wanted them to perform. Some types of pornography constitute sex trafficking, as the production of porn often involves the use of force, fraud, and coercion. Victims of trafficking, including young children, are often further exploited by having the sex acts they are forced or coerced to perform filmed and distributed on the internet. The virtual rape of a trafficked victim can be viewed over and over again by thousands, and this digital trail of exploitation can continue to haunt a trafficked person for a lifetime. It's often impossible to erase. I'll conclude by sharing a personal experience I had not long ago with a very brave teen survivor of sex trafficking. Her traffickers, as many do, took deliberate steps to claim ownership of her by branding her with a tattoo. Thankfully, she was able to escape her traffickers, but the very visible reminder of her horrific experiences haunted her daily. I accompanied her to a tattoo parlor where she spent the next several hours sitting perfectly still while having that tattoo transformed into something completely different. The buzzing sound that was made by that tattoo equipment was eerily evident, as was the significance of the tattoo's slow transformation over time. Once finished, there was a long silence as she faced the mirror, focused on the new image that covered the symbol that once branded her as somebody else's property. Tears rolled down her eyes, and eventually, a smile appeared. We hugged and we both cried, tears of joy. For her, it would ever be marked as a moment when she could finally direct her eyes to the future. We will not stand by quietly watching as children, young women, and yes, even men, are branded, sold into slavery, and their innocence stripped. Rather, we will stand united to defend child dignity in our homes, our schools, our communities, our world, and our digital world, and look ahead to brighter futures for our children. Thank you.